because it's not a Giants, conversation without apparently discussing Shedeur Sanders lately. And now we hear that there's going to be a private workout for the Giants in Colorado with Shedeur Sanders, where Shedeur Sanders will be their private dancer, as Tina Turner would say.
Ooh.
And this is from Adam Schefter on X. He says, ESPN sources, Colorado QB Shedeur Sanders will hold one last private workout Thursday in Boulder, Colorado for a contingent of officials from the New York Giants. Some final intrigue leading into next week's NFL draft in Green Bay, which is very interesting because let's be honest here, guys. This is definitely like the time. Like, if you're going to make this decision, this is one of those decisions that could make or break your career for a guy like Joe Schoen. Like, if we don't pick up Shedeur Sanders and he goes on to be a good quarterback in this league, that's not just egg in his face, that's poop in his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be both.
Now, if you draft him and he fails, well, guess what? You had your chance to draft a quarterback and you did. You don't really typically come back from that as a GM. Like, that QB pick is that important in your time as a GM. So, and there's a lot of people talking about how there's some torn, opinions here in the Giants front office and even within Daboll and Schoen. There's people that are saying that Daboll likes him and Schoen doesn't. Again, I have no inside information on this. I'm not going to say either one is true. But that's what you hear, the rumblings of, so to speak, here. And that's why last minute Brian Daboll went to Colorado to go to the workout. Now, you even got people from the Mara family going to that first workout he had there. No word yet that I've seen as far as exactly who is going to be of this contingent of officials for the New York Giants exactly. It's a very curious verbiage.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. You're a week and a half away from the draft, guys. If you don't know if Shedeur is your guy, guess what? He's not.
Yeah. If you're indecisive,
yeah. The third overall pick in the draft should not be a tough choice.
Yeah. I love it when teams take their full 15 minutes, 20 minutes on the clock.
Oh yeah. I love it that night.
The first, top 5. You pretty much know. Pretty much top 10,
Now, maybe there's some talks behind the scenes on trades, and that's what delays it. I get it. But I feel like you're a week and a half out, guys. At this point, you should know if you want Shedeur Sanders on your team or not. Point blank. Yeah. And the fact that that there's an extra workout now specifically for the Giants on him. Oh, to be a fly in the wall. Like, I would love to hear how the conversations are going, because I feel like Shedeur obviously feels the need to prove something to the Giants. Like, let's be very frank. He feels the need to prove something to the Giants, or why else would he do this? He also sees his stock going down. And if the Giants don't take him at 3, he could be there for a while. And he knows that.
Yeah.
So, me personally, I don't care either way, guys. I'm gonna be very frank. I hate to be indecisive sounding on that. I could not care less if they do or don't take Sanders. If they take him, great. You have confidence in him. Now make him that guy. If you don't take him, fine. You didn't think he was that guy. You didn't force a pick. I'm okay with it either way, because I do see the pros and cons. As much as I think anybody who watches the show knows, I love having an opinion. I love giving said opinion. I'm so mixed on Shedeur Sanders, it's not even funny.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously, we all know who his father is. His father, he won the best, at his position at the time.
The best ever to play his position. Let me be very clear on that, my opinion on that one.
Yeah. So, talent runs in the family. That he's coming to a family that knows how to work around the media and work around football.
It's a family affair.
So it's like, you're not going to get too much surprise with him. It's now comes back down to the talent level. Like, was it Colorado? Was it the system? Was it the family around them? Like,
was it the lack of talent they played in Colorado?
Yeah. These are all very important questions that we're going to be looking at. We're not going to be playing the Raiders every weekend.
Here's my question. And I'm curious how you answer this. Do you think Shedeur Sanders will ever be a top 10 quarterback in the draft? I mean, sorry, in the league. Would you ever think that Shedeur Sanders will be a top 10 quarterback in this league?
Like for the year or week to week? Because
I
yes,
mean, I mean for
week
the
to
year.
week, yeah, he
Like you'll
could
go
do
out
it.
and go, this is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in this league. Clearly. Overall, like, I got to make a top. I got to rank all the quarterbacks in this league, and I have him in the top 10.
Like
What do you
come
think the chances are of
2025
that
season,
happening?
2026 season, I he has the potential to do so.
What percentage would you say? I'm putting you in the spot big time.
Yeah, I'll give him about 50%. Top 5 is a big different story.
So imagine that. You take a guy at pick 3 that you think is a 50-50 shot. He's elite.
People do it all the time because
But
you
you're
know if
supposed
you
to
have
be confident.
my thing is he might sit there and hover around because like people have this conversation about Eli, where did he rank a lot of times, and he probably didn't crack the top 10 for a lot of people besides outside the Giants and New York media. But I mean, if Shedeur sits there and hovers around 11, 12, like it's still like a good pick. Like you got enough weapons around you where you can make things happen, like depending on the scenario. So to say it has to be like a top 10 to be successful, like
But
at
I think
3,
at a pick 3 quarterback, it's got to be that.
yeah, there's a lot of busts that come in the top 5 quarterbacks year in,
Yeah.
year out. I'm just saying is I don't think he has a better shot being a top 10 than a bottom 10. Because you kind of know where his floor is. He's got a ceiling that it's questionable.
That's my concern, though, is I think he's going to be like a top 20 quarterback. I don't know if he'll be a top 10. And that's my biggest concern with that. There's so much I like about the way he plays. I think he doesn't get scared under pressure. I think he is a guy who point blank is very good at leading receivers. People talk about the yak yards the wide receivers get, and they definitely get it. We talked about that when we first scouted him a long time ago. But he's a guy that leads receivers very well. He reads defenses very well, I feel like. He doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. While he may lead those receivers, some of the yak yards, can he get that yak yards in an NFL system? That leads to be, beg the question. He didn't play very good talent at Colorado. When he gets rushed by defenders, he typically runs backward, which is a very bad move as a quarterback in the NFL. There's a lot not to like, and there's a lot to like. And that's the problem I run into. Usually I can look at a quarterback and go, here's my opinion, done.
There's a lot of variables.
I'm so mixed in this guy, it's not even funny. I could see him being a top 10 quarterback. I could see him being a backup quarterback. Nothing would shock me, except I don't think he'll ever be MVP style. I don't think that'll be like he's not going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be the next Tom Brady.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you're also talking about like one generational talents right there.
No, but when you picked last year, let's say hypothetically, let's say you had picked 3 last year, and you're getting a guy like Drake May. You're a lot more optimistic about a Drake May than you probably are in Shedeur Sanders.
Probably. I mean,
And
I also wasn't that optimistic against Drake May.
But I'm saying that's the problem you're into. Right. You're reaching. And again, we've said on the show many times, I will say it again because it's the absolute truth. If you're going to reach for a position, reach for quarterback. That's the one position that I'm okay with reaching because it's that important. But at what point is it too big a reach to go top 3 pick for a guy that you think is probably going to be stealing wise an average to slightly above average quarterback in this league?
Yeah, I mean,
are you going to build a Super Bowl winning team with Shedeur Sanders? That's the big question. We're the Giants. We're not the Browns. We're not just satisfied with just getting in the playoffs. Though I hate to say it, I almost would be now after all these years. Ooh, the playoffs.
Playoffs. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's hard to judge his ceiling right now, and
it is.
I mean, a lot of it comes through the talent. So, like, you get a couple top flight receivers around him. You get a decent offensive line where he's not having to run for his life. Like, you get a solid running back, which is any quarterback out there. But I think he's got the smarts, the football IQ, and the ability to withstand pressure. Like, he has what it takes to manage an NFL. So yeah, I think he could go to Super Bowl, but it also, just like any other quarterback, he needs the characters of his side characters, if you will, in the story to be up there and be good as well. And good coaching.
Yeah,
Which is very obvious.
it's a really crappy place to be because I know a lot of us, I'm not the only one, keeps going back. If it wasn't for that goddamn Colts game,
Yeah.
we'd have Cam Ward. We wouldn't worry. Let's get into some of the comments here. So I know you all listen. Shedeur Sanders is probably one of the biggest, like I said, biggest topics overall for the last 6 months. I feel like for the Giants. G says, "Yo guys, what's up, man?" Deb says, "If he's here, I think they should take him. Remember the 2012 draft? Colts fans and sports people were angry with the Manning pick. They wanted Ryan Leaf. How'd that work out? Yep, 100%. That I remember that very well too. It was a talk, and there was definitely. It was almost like." When there's a clear cut 1 and a clear cut 2, but you don't know which one is your 1, which one's your 2. It was that kind of year with him. That was what, 98, I want to say. That was like one of the big first QB controversies I remember. Because I remember I was like a sophomore in high school. I was just getting old enough to actually understand football, not just watch it and to go, "Whoa, look, it's Joe Montana!" Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so like it's one I'm always remember, but it was such a flip coin for a lot of people. But what people weren't able to do, and this is why I keep on saying it's hard for me to have too much of an opinion on Shedeur Sanders. What people weren't aware of was the mental health aspects of Ryan Leaf. Let's be honest, like that guy had a few screws loose, and I'm not trying to be rude about it, but it's the truth of what was going on. And I have to imagine that the Colts office saw that when they had meetings with him. They're like, "Yeah, whoa, not go near that, Manning. Hello,
Yeah.
get your big forehead over here." Like,
Yeah. The 6
like
head.
that's
That's
that's what I,
5.
that's what I feel like happened. We can't be in there with our own with Shedeur Sanders, and we said that from the very get go since we started looking at him and scouting him. Is we cannot look at Shedeur Sanders and ask him questions. I can't get reactions. I can't find these things out. So it's hard for me to have an opinion because, especially with a quarterback, when I'm making a minor tweak to certain ways things are said or certain looks that you give a person when you ask a question, you can find out a lot of things. We can't do that. And do I trust Joe Schoen to make that? No. I trust him to sit in the corner with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Peanut butter
Yeah.
jelly time, peanut butter
Peanut butter
jelly
jelly
time.
time for the
But
draft. Peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly time for the draft.
so I just have to trust the Giants know what they're doing, which is a very scary thing. So let's be frank, they don't. That's what it boils down to. No Name says, "Do you believe the head coach should pick quarterback or GM? GM should do money, but coach should get the guy he wants to build or use." I think personally, the GM and the coach should be on the same page.
100%. I was gonna say it's a
unified front.
You should be in agreement. So you don't have to 100% be unified, but you have to be in agreement. Like this is going to be your dude. Like,
yeah,
if you haven't struggled in a conversation, like you probably shouldn't.
That being said, the tiebreaker in that kind of scenario should be the GM, and when it comes to game day decisions, the tiebreaker is the coach. That's to me how it should be, but it should be unified.
I think it comes to this. I think it comes down to different aspects, but yeah,
I'm saying if you have to have like, I want this player, you want that player. I'm the GM. I get the final say. That's what I mean. Like
yeah, but as a head coach, like you may like this player, you may like what you saw on the field, but I can't coach him the way you want him to be coached.
Well, then you're not the right coach for the job. Thank you, sir. Next.
Or you just have different.
I just fired you. You're fired.
Yeah, you're fired.
Fired. I'm just saying, like that's the job. Like,
yeah,
but if Joe Schoen doesn't draft right, hypothetically, okay, and the team performs okay, Joe Schoen's going to look bad. Brian Daboll won't. Correct.
Correct.
So therefore, it's Joe Schoen's job. Therefore, he makes that call.
Yeah, but it's also.
I prefer them in
Joe Schoen will also look really good if Daboll could turn around and coach all these players to the highest potential. But not every person is coachable by the same person. That's what I'm saying. So
I get your point.
I
really do.
Find it's not a fit. Like that's the GM's job to say, I don't think he's a good fit. Like I understand the talent level. I don't think he's a good fit for this organization.
You're not buying a suit. You're drafting a player here. Like you got to listen. What did Brian Daboll say when we first hired him? I want to sit down with players and find out what they like, what they don't like, and adjust my offense accordingly. I'm going to use his own words against them. Because he did that very first thing. So Like I
I'm
said,
pretty sure
Joe
that was
Schoen's the one who
before
has to
the
pay the price for whatever he does or doesn't do right on draft day, not Brian Daboll. Therefore, he gets the final say. Jay says at 3, you got to take a guy with major upside. His upside is like Dak, Purdy, Geno. Here's the thing, though. Would you? I cannot believe I'm saying this, and I know Purdy's probably the worst of those 3 to have this conversation with. But you wouldn't take Dak Prescott right now, and I hate to say it like that because I'm not a huge fan of Dak myself. But you wouldn't take Dak Prescott on this team right now. I find it hard to believe most guys wouldn't,
especially if Dak like 5 years ago.
But again, would you want to draft him 3rd overall? That's the problem. We're not talking about a mid-first round pick.
Yeah, so, especially talking about Purdy, he was in the 7th round, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. No Name says we know Dion had it at his position. We don't know if Shedeur has it at his quarterback position until he approves in the NFL. College is different. That's true. Deb says it's a gamble, period. Nobody knows what kind of quarterback he'll make. Exactly. Jay says, wouldn't surprise you if Milroe went before him. It would surprise the hell out of me, and I'm telling you right now, whoever does that is a moron. I'm just calling it like it is. Jalen Milroe is so bad at quarterback, his own receivers were giving him nasty looks the last game he played. He's got a strong arm. He can run fast. You know what he can't do? Read defenses and throw accurately.
Yeah.
Go back to our scouting report we did on Jermaine Burton, the wide receiver, I believe the Bengals took, if I remember correctly. We had said that he is a good receiver that is actually probably better than he looks on paper because the quarterback play was so bad at Alabama. That's what we said. We were not the only ones who said it, by the way. That's the quarterback we're talking about. Nothing changed in the year. He just got a year older and forced his way out when he probably needs more time to develop. Probably should have just said, Alabama, I'm staying. If you don't want me here, I'll go somewhere else. He could have used another year or 2 of seasoning.
That is, it's not like he's going poor.
No, but what probably happened is Alabama probably has somebody beneath them. And listen, I don't pretend to know the backup quarterback for the Alabama football team, but they probably have somebody behind him that it's like, okay, it's his turn. It happens all the time. So, but Milroe, I'm telling you right now, great athlete, very nice person from all the interviews I've seen at all too as well. I've never heard him say anything stupid or crazy. For the most part, a little more understated than most people are, but that's okay. That's his prerogative. But not a good thrower. If your worst trait as a quarterback is throwing, I'm sorry, that's an issue.
Yeah,
that's like he's a really good running back. What if he could run the ball better?
what position quarterback? Oh, okay.
Chris says Sanders is a DJ clone. Whatever he can do, whatever he did, you can probably credit Hunter with. Like I said, I see it to a certain degree, but I think Hunter also benefited from the way he throws with anticipation because Hunter is really good at yak yards. Hunter is really good at seams, middle routes, things of that nature. And if you put a guy like you say DJ, I'm going to use DJ. If you put a guy like DJ in and he has to come back for the ball, he's not getting the yak yards he was getting. And Hunter doesn't look nearly as good with a guy like that.
Yeah.
Just playing devil's advocate. Like I said, I'm not saying that Hunter didn't help Sanders. He definitely did. But to sit there and say that Sanders didn't help Hunter as well would not be correct. It's a two-way street. Jay says if they didn't sign 2 quarterbacks, I would think it would be more likely. I mean, yeah. I mean, if they didn't get 2, then you say, okay, they're going to get probably a quarterback here to be the backup, at least for this year. But yeah, I'd still say, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think taking those 2 guys stops the Giants from looking at Sanders at 3 either. That's pretty obvious. I think if the Giants were out 100% on Sanders, they wouldn't be going to this workout. It's not just wasting his time, it's wasting theirs. Unless it's all smoke and mirrors. You never know with the Giants. You never know.
Giving them smokes, giving them mirrors.
Deb says a lot of quarterbacks have 3 QBs now. Yes, they do. No Name says, how many early first-round quarterbacks made it to Super Bowl win or winning record, at least minimum, get past first round in playoffs? I'd have to look at the stats, but I'll tell you this, the mid to latter first-round quarterbacks are usually the ones that actually succeed. But I think a lot of that is due to the fact they're typically going to better teams. They have better help around them. They have better run franchises. They're not going to the Jets and the Browns.
Touche.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Chris says, I can't believe we just went through this and how eager some fans are to get through it again. Get through what? The season?
Or picking a quarterback early.
I don't know. Dev says most of the latter round picks at quarterback don't even make good backups in the future. Most good backups now were taken in the first round. I mean, I would say second, third for a lot of them at that point there. But yeah, the first round busts typically are backup quarterbacks. Look at Daniel Jones. It's a backup in Indianapolis now. Look at Kenny Pickett. Backup in Cleveland now. That's what happens. Big Blue in the Bronx. You. What's up, man? Guys, if you haven't already, Big Blue in the Bronx, follow them. Hit the subscribe button on theirs. Just open a new tab so you don't lose us in the meantime. We have important things to discuss. Jay says we have 3 QBs. We have 2.5. Sorry, but
Is that a height joke?
No, DeVito is he's a practice squad player. That's what he is. He's a practice squad player that had his little fun moment when the Giants were desperate for a good story. That's what he was.
He's a Cinderella story, is what it was.
Yes. He's the Jeremy Lin of the Giants. The Kevin Moss of the Giants. The Shane Spencer of the Giants. That's what he was. His time is up. No name. Sad part. Draft finally gets here. Then we wait till September to see. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably overhype every single practice. Ooh, he made a play. Ooh, he made a play. Ooh. Look at that. Ooh, he missed his play. Like, that's what happens. He said a ghost. Ghost. Jay says, don't disrespect Tommy DeVito. I'm not disrespecting the man. Made his money. He's good. Deb says you'll be waiting longer than September. Yeah, no, we wait a couple of years. It's the truth of that. Anthony says Sanders are dart. Sanders without a doubt. I'm not a dart guy. Dart is definitely not a bullseye. No name says, yo, Tommy. I didn't hear no bell.
Ding, ding.
Jay says, I think elite traits are worth gambling on. Sanders doesn't have elite traits. Elite accuracy is a trait. Elite processing is a trait. Just because it's not running fast or throwing deep, that's the problem. Is I feel like people get stuck on certain traits. And I'm not saying you, Jay. And I feel like people in general, they get certain traits they like because it's fun to watch. And that's what it comes. Ooh, he has elite traits. They all have elite traits. That's how they got to the NFL draft. If they didn't have elite traits, they wouldn't be in the draft alone, let alone be top picks in the draft. It's like, imagine like a player with no elite traits somehow sneaking his way into the first round of the NFL draft. Like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, he's a top 5 pick in the NFL draft.
He's got no elite traits, but he's got a hell of a smile.
That charisma.
Jason's dad thought Leaf was the pick back then. He could bond the ball on dimes into Washington State. He could, honestly, you could make the case that he was a better college quarterback than Manning was. You really could, and you would not be crazy for saying it. By the way, Manning also failed in all the big games in college, same as he did at the pros. Just saying. Joke.
Well, it's not true. He's got a Super Bowl.
He's got a Super Bowl and a second one he got dragged to.
Yeah.
By the way, the one Super Bowl he had a face of Rex Grossman and the Bears. And the defense was the one year that they were actually healthy with Bob Sanders and all.
Yeah, Bears.
Just saying. Jay says Peyton, I thought, was skinny and not strong. Yeah, well, he was drinking milk and it shows. Deb says, right, Jay, and take on Manning was that he could not throw over 60 yards. Yeah, which you don't have to. I'm sorry. It's not often in a game like, oh, my God, he missed that 80-yard pass down the field. If only he had seen that. Like, what how often does this scenario pop up?
Downfield.
Yes. If only he was able to throw to that gazelle running down the sideline. What the hell? Like, oh, my gosh. Jason, I was dead wrong, but SD Media just trolled and picked at Leaf until he imploded. I think he was going to implode no matter what. Jason's Bryce Young is nothing physically, but he threw with anticipation he can make plays. I don't see that with Sanders. You don't see he can throw with anticipation? Go watch Colorado's film. Seriously, dude. Like that's what he does. That's legit what he did. He, like I said, he has plenty of things he's bad at. I've already talked about it. You know, doesn't throw the ball deep as well as a lot of the others in this draft. Tends to move backwards when pressure there, which is very dangerous. He can get sacked and lose 15, 20 yards that way. Like, there's definitely cons on him. But throwing the
Yeah.
anticipation is an elite trait of his. No name, Schoen and Daboll made it like they're always on the same page. They picked Daniel, or did one decide who's to blame for those 6 years? Well, Daniel Jones was a Dave Gettleman pick, so we're going to blame Dave Gettleman. But Schoen and Daboll, by default, because of the extension, will get some of the blame. It's a shared blame.
Yeah.
Three-way blame process. It's a good old three-way. Jay says the problem with the Giants is they never cut bait. They just hold on to guys until it's untenable. Oh, no, that's not the problem. The problem is they cut bait with the wrong guys. Let's be very frank on that. They cut bait on the wrong guys. And Jay says Dak aging in dog years. Yeah, he's playing on that team will do that to you. No names. His funny thing is I like Dak when he was on Gruden's quarterback camp to pick him. Worried he would be in our division if we didn't, and he did come to the NFC East as I predicted. Jay says Sanders highlight tape is all Hunter making crazy plays. LOL. Exactly. Hunter making crazy plays because he got thrown the ball with anticipation. Oh, I went a little Rocky Horror on you.
Yeah.
What?
Tim Curry lingerie.
Oh my god, it's hilarious though. Captain America says, I still think the Browns are taking Sanders. I don't think so personally. I think there's a wink nudge deal with the whole thing with Myles Garrett. They said they take Abdul Carter. I really do. I think that was part of what made him happy. The boatload of cash didn't hurt probably, but
yeah. He reminds me of Zombieland where he's just crying with the money.
Jay says, hey, yeah, Captain. The Kirk Cousins thing is BS. Nobody, they're spending $80 million on 2 bad QBs with 2 combined Achilles. Here's the thing. You don't have to spend $80 million combined on those 2 because first off, you're getting insurance money back on Deshaun Watson. And Kirk Cousins would not be $40 million because a lot of that money was already prepaid in the signing bonus by the Falcons. He'd be like $20 million, $25 million. I have to look up the exact number, but it's probably more in that range. It hurts for real, sis. Hello, fellas. What's up?
Hello.
All right, let's get into these guards here because we got 10 of these guards here to go on, and we've already been talking for half an hour before already on Shedeur Sanders. And guys, I'm going to tell you a little behind the scenes here. Rob and I have a running joke. Whenever we think it's going to be a short episode, we said this should be a short episode. It turns out to be an hour and a half long at least. I don't know what it is. I don't know, what it is, but that's what happened.
You put the kiss of death on it today before the show.
I did. Jay says Big Blue the Bronx is a good follow, great upcoming content creator. Yes, 100%. I wouldn't even say upcoming because they've been around for longer than us. But yeah, they've been very, very good. No Name says, didn't they say same about Lamar Jackson as you say about Milroe, Drew? They did, 100%. But here's the difference: Lamar Jackson can throw, and it's not his best skill, but he can throw a whole lot better than Milroe. He wasn't pissing off college wide receivers left and right. Again, go rewatch the last game he had. I'm telling you right now. We got a whole lot more, by the way. Look at this. Hold on. Let's see. Jason Lamar was one of the best throwers of the football. Louisville. He is one of the best throwers to tight ends in NFL. Jay says you got to be straight up baller and to be a 6-foot tall quarterback in the draft like Drew Brees or Mike Vick. Pessimist Shedeur is the guy. All that Carter Hunter talk is to entice others. Shedeur is the guy. Let's he put the same thing here. Just remember, JJ McCarthy had a private workout and it led to nothing. Led to an injury eventually for him. The Vikings, but also said the workout was already planned according to Ronan. Jay says, watch the film, bro. I know people. I feel like he thinks I name drop all the time. I do not name drop. By the way, Jay, you missed it. We had a former NFL player that I do know that I was actually texting with today, by the way. James Canada, what's up again? Thanks for coming on.
Appreciate James.
Yeah, that it's funny because I was thinking the whole time while he was on, I'm like, where's Jay? He's always claiming that I like name drop and stuff like that. And then I get like a legit former NFL player, like had good 5-year career, was a starter at times with the Bucks, and there's no Jay. I was looking for him to make jokes. He wasn't there. Jay, you let us down.
If you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much. Please, I'm begging you. Please subscribe.